All right, in this video, we're gonna make chicken and shrimp gumbo. I love making this dish because it allows me to take people on a journey. Now we're gonna move into making the base of our sauce or our stock, which will be our roux. So when it comes to making the gumbo, again, this is a chicken and seafood gumbo. So I personally like to brown my chicken and my shrimp or my crab or whatever it is I'm putting in my gumbo so that I can flavor that roux or that sauce base that I'm going to make. So the first thing you're gonna see me do is cook this protein first, okay? So what I have first here is I have some chopped chicken tenderloin. You can use chicken breast, you can use dark meat chicken, you can use whatever kind of chicken you want. The beautiful part about this is, you know, it's what you make it. It's whatever flavor profiles, whatever, you know, meat cuts you want, you can do that. You can also do sausage. If you are vegan, you can go, you know, the pea protein route with different types of meat cuts, ground meats, that kind of thing, right? So traditionally though, whole muscle meats or sausage or seafood is the way to go for a gumbo, okay? And then I have some shrimp here, okay? So I've got a nice hot pan. One thing about the pan, I've got a little oil in here. You always want to make sure, what I call, when you put that meat or that vegetable, whether you're sauteing or you know, cooking something in a pan with oil, you want to hear what I call the round of applause, and hopefully we get that right now. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is gonna add the chicken. All right. So you hear that round of applause, right? You're getting, that means you've got a nice hot pan, you've got nice hot oil, and you're gonna get a really nice brown on your chicken. I'm gonna turn my heat up. What I like to tell people when you're cooking on the stove, don't be afraid to play around with the heat. Sometimes, you know, different ovens and different stoves cook very differently. So it's okay to just move the heat back and forth just so that it fits whatever it is that you're cooking. You don't want to, if it's too high, you don't want to overcook something or burn it. If it's too low, you don't want to boil it really, okay? So it's okay to just play around, turn it down if you need to start smoking, turn it up if you need more brown and more cooked, okay? So I'm gonna turn this up because I want to see more brown. Okay, and I want to cook all of this free moisture, this water that's in my protein, specifically my chicken. I want to cook that off of it, okay? So I'm gonna turn this heat up. Usually I let it stay, typically with chicken, you want to always be as safe as you can with chicken. You want to cook to a temperature of 195 or until you see no pink. If you have a meat thermometer, it's always best to use a meat thermometer to make sure that you're cooking your foods appropriately, especially your meats and proteins. With chicken, that magic number or that magic temperature is 165. If you are well versed in cooking chicken, you can kind of go with the tenderness of it, right? So if it's still very soft and squishy, went to the touch, you still need more time. If it becomes extremely firm and tight, that protein, that means you're pretty much there as far as cooking. So I need more color on this. So I'm gonna let this keep going. Color equals flavor. Typically when you're cooking in a pan, whether you're sauteing or doing something with a high heat and oil, you wanna be able to get some flavor out of what it is that you're making. So typically if you've cooked before, you'll find something called the fond at the bottom of your pan. And that's usually the brown bits that are in the bottom of the pan. That's the fond. That's like the heart of a lot of the flavor that you're cooking in the bottom of that pan. So that's our goal here. We want to get some fond in the bottom of this pan. So that's why we want to crank that heat up. All right, so we have to move it over to another pilot just so we can get more heat on it and get that brown color that we were talking about earlier. So let's check on it now. All right, so this is great, right? So you're starting to see those brown bits form, that fond form that we talked about earlier, and this is what we want here. And so I talked earlier about a complete cook. Because we're not done with the cook yet, we don't want to cook this all the way, okay? So When you're cooking chicken in general, you want to make sure you hit that 165, but in this gumbo recipe, we want to just cook it part way to where we develop a little bit of flavor, and then we're going to stop because we're going to go right back into a cook when we pull it together as a stew, okay? So next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to turn the heat down, and I'm going to put the shrimp in, okay? The shrimp's going to cook extremely fast if you've ever cooked shrimp before, so you always want to get that color on that chicken first. Before you add the shrimp, okay? Looking pretty good, right? See all that flavor forming right there, all that flavor forming inside, nice and brown. We're gonna use that. So again, doesn't have to be chicken, doesn't have to be seafood. You can go completely plant-based if you want to. There's a number of different plant-based options that you can add into this gumbo. You can go vegetable. You can go veggie gumbo as well. You can do a number of vegetables. You can add carrots. You can add, greens. You can add more of our trinity. Chunky tomatoes, okra. Okra is always a really great traditional vegetable that you can put into your gumbo as well. Okay? So there's no perfect way to do a gumbo. Perfect to you. Okay? All right, so I got some nice color on both of these. I'm gonna stop my cook and set them aside. Okay? So I've got them set aside in the bowl. I'm gonna cook right back to this pan. Now we're gonna start our roux.